Now, welcome back to Bethpage. Brian, we've seen some things. Mad day. We weren't expecting as much drama when we got up this morning.
No, we weren't. I mean, I was sort of writing a bit of early copy, and I sort of thinking of doing an intro on the lines of it only took Europe X number of hours to get the Ryder Cup over the line. I think it took until 5:15, and it started at just after 12 o'clock, I think. So it took quite a long time, and for a while it looked as though the Americans were actually going to pull off a miracle. Incredible.
And then initially it looked the exact opposite. The board went very blue very quickly, and there was a bit of chatter around here about the last game, Bob McIntyre's game, whether it was actually going to be over by the time they teed off, which would have been a fairly extraordinary thing.
Yeah.
Matt Fitzpatrick destroyed Bryson DeChambeau on the front nine. Justin Knowles was putting like an absolute drain. And I'm thinking, you had to put together a mad sequence of events to make any argument for America winning. But winning their first two games on the 18 green with putts, that was the first domino, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Europe, what do they need? I mean, they needed 2 points for retain it, 2.5, to win it. It was 12-5 when the Hovland match was called a half because of his neck. Yeah, and then Matt Fitzpatrick, he's 5 up, and he managed to get a half, so there was a little bit of a glimmer of hope, but they kept on knocking off wins.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler against Rory McIlroy. Rory was a knackered, beat him 1 up. Aber got a win then, and then it sort of became a little bit more possible. But there was all the Spawn beat Stroll, so there was it was getting extremely tight, and I sort of wonder, who's going to get the point? And every player, I suppose, is sort of thinking, well, one of the other lads is going to get the point surely, or get a half somewhere. And Lowry is suddenly looking at the scoreboard going, Jesus, this is not a nice feeling. This is going to come down to one of us down here at the end.
Yeah, we spoke to the players just in a formal press conference afterwards. Rory came over for a bit more of a chat. It's fair to say he's really, really chuffed. I've actually never seen him quite so.
He was emotional. I mean, he was almost in tears. He was just absolutely thrilled for Shane to do what he did. I mean, obviously Shane, finished with 4 threes in a row, hold some unbelievable putts. About a 6.5, 7-footer on the last green to beat Henley, and win that match. I mean, he was a couple down with 4 holes to go, and to get that half. That's what retained the trophy for Europe. But he was just chuffed for Shane, because they've become very close. And what Shane did for him yesterday when they were getting all that abuse on the golf course, he put his arm around him, like a big brother, and just played unbelievable golf yesterday afternoon and again today. I mean, the swings coming in were just tremendous. So he was almost happier for Shane than he was for himself. And it's been, this is going to go down as the year of Rory McIlroy's life. I mean, he won the Masters, career Grand Slam, but he said this was the one that I really had earmarked. Okay, I won the Masters, but this is the one that I had earmarked just because we wanted to win another one away from home after all the chat at Whistling Straits and Padraig's team, because of COVID and a few other things, got hammered, 19-9. And there was talk in there of, there's going to be 20 years of dominance with all those young guys on the American team. So they were really determined, and that an unbelievable captain, Luke Donald, as well. But great day for Shane Lowry too.
Yeah, we'll save Shane to last because it's an amazing moment for him. But just on McIlroy, I asked him about the abuse that he was getting yesterday, whether himself and Shane had any sort of triggers for what to do, and I think he misinterpreted the question initially. He started explaining about the order tactics they had, the order of play. But then he kind of said, and I was a little bit surprised at this, that because you do hear a lot with sports people that when they hear a thing that have a trigger and it'll help them wfocus. And he said that when they went out on the golf course yesterday, they were just reacting to the stuff that they were reacting to. There was no big sort of overall plan for people to ignore it, react to it, make light of it, any of that sort of stuff. It was interesting that he just kind of said, look, we did our best to try and ignore it, but when it got to us, it got to us.
Yeah, and they just be yourself, just be the way you always are, and they were able to produce the shots. I think that was the difference between the teams in the sense that Europe, had a lot of big time players who've done a lot of big time things in the game, serious major champions, and the big name players in the European team performed. The Justin Roses, the Rory McIlroys, the Jon Rahms, or Tommy Fleetwoods, they were the ones that put all the big points on the board. In the American team, Scotty Scheffler, 0 points in the pairs matches. Bryson DeChambeau, I think he got 1 point out of 4. In the pairs matches. So they were the guys that just didn't step up, and Europe had their big guys perform, which was key.
Yeah. Now Shane Lowry has done some amazing things in his career. I mean, he won an Irish Open as an amateur. He won an Open Championship in Portrush.
Yeah.
The thing about the Portrush win is he never really got a moment because he was so far out in front. And he walked down 18 and it was a great moment. He was home and holes at that stage. And it was a last lap of honour.
Yeah.
But today was a moment. He had to get something from his match. He had to come from behind against the world number 3. His putting was absolutely exceptional. Like if you compare the quality of their match versus the quality of the Scheffler McIlroy match, there's no comparison. And Shane had to dig in, and he made some absolutely incredible swings. He birdied 4 of the last 5 balls with her.
Yeah, he birdied 15. He hit it into about 6 feet on 16, and Henley still held it up for him. Hit a great shot into 17, and had to actually hold about a 3.5 footer just for a half. Excuse me. And then he hit, after Henley hit one into about 10 feet out of a bunker on the last, it went into about 7 feet, and hold the putt. I mean, he hold all those putts in the 4 balls with Rory coming down the stretch on Saturday, and then to do it again today. I mean, Shane was, it reminded me a little bit of Padraig Harrington at the Open and Carnoustie. That ability to just pull something out under pressure coming down the stretch when that if you mess up, you're probably never going to forget that for the rest of your life. I mean, Shane said that today. He said, if I'd messed up there, this is a moment. This is it, he said, as he stood over that putt. And to be able to put it in the hole, I think Rory, we were talking to him afterwards. He said that's going to stand to Shane for the rest of his career. So hopefully we'll see a few more big moments from Shane coming up, maybe in the majors as well. To give him that just a bit of extra belief, maybe get over the line again.
I was kind of amazed at what he said directly afterwards. That he said to his caddy Darren Reynolds on the AT&T, you have an opportunity to do something like the coolest thing or something like that.
Yeah.
All the kind of the sports psychology tells you that you're not supposed to be thinking about what the outcome is going to be.
Process.
Yeah. You have to keep yourself very square because you're only adding more pressure to yourself.
Yeah.
But I was fascinated to hear that sort of not only did Shane, he kind of visualized what was at stake, and then he just put it all out in the open and went and did it anyway. I mean, it took just serious balls.
He's incredibly talented. I mean, to win the Irish Open as an amateur, to win the Open in Ireland with all that pressure, highest street, and then to come out, in his 3rd Ryder Cup with the experience and produce, when it all came down, it's going to slip away from Europe. It looks like it's going to be a disastrous day for Europe, possibly. And to hold that putt, it just showed, massive courage. He's a really special generational player. To have 2 of them in Rory McIlroy is outstanding. I don't think Europe would have won this Ryder Cup, without that partnership, especially yesterday, Saturday afternoon when the crowd are really getting on top of Rory. I mean, he was absolutely exhausted, spent today after playing 5 matches. They punched each other out. Scheffler as well over the first couple of days. So Rory, or Shane, just a 4-ball on Friday, 4-ball yesterday. Luke Donald had a plan, and just about worked out.
Just about. Well, it's been an eventful week, and we've had a much more eventful Sunday than we thought we were going to have. But Europe win 15-3, and all roads lead to Darren Manor.